Hey everybody, clearing. This is an acorn, so that's what we're clearing with today. And let's begin. So as I'm doing the meditation for this reading, the pre-shuffle, all that's coming to me is what goes around comes around, and the whole idea of unrequited love. And the irony that on this journey, one of the common denominators is a runner and somebody that has all the makings of a perfect match, for whatever reason not desiring to meet in that energy. It happens so much, and I want all of us to just take a moment and understand that for every person that runs from us, we're running from others as well. You're not limited to just that person that you are looking at. There are people who you have done that same thing to, and this is very important to understand. And that does not mean that anybody is the bad guy. It does, however, bring open a whole other layer of what goes around comes around. It's such a blessing for the one who loves to begin to love with such openness that it doesn't even have to be reciprocated in order for it to totally transform that person's life. It truly is the blessing on the lover that is the reward of loving. How blessed the world is to have the lovers. It makes the world go round. Okay, I'm already crying and I haven't even pulled a card yet. So what do the divine feminines need to know about being the lover of someone that isn't reciprocating? What is it that the divine feminines need to know about that? We're getting the death energy in the reverse. I'm going to pull a clarifier, but this is, a death and a rebirth. Yes, we can say it's developmental stages, that it just takes patience, it just takes time, but it also transforms you, dear divine feminine who loves. It cracks your heart open, it makes you a more exquisite being. What can we see as a clarifier? Turn knowledge into wisdom. Yes, and everything you learn on the journey emanates from you. It makes everything you touch, Midas touch I'm hearing, turn into gold. Every story you tell, every creative idea you bring forth, everything you birth, it all has this wisdom of heart, wisdom of love woven through it. Okay. What divine feminines do you need to know about those who have loved you that you have not acknowledged? What can we see from the flip side of that for the divine feminines? Kindness. Acknowledging the love is there, even if it's not your Two of Cups, with the most kindness you possibly can have. As you come into Empress energy, divine feminines, you will be bringing so many suitors, so many options, so many worthy lovers out of the woodwork for you. And you may not prefer all of them. And so kindness is truly also, that's one of the things the DMs haven't necessarily done in these runner-chaser dynamics, the twin flame journey, or these sort of becoming modern day themes that are playing out in the collective of humanity right now. The DMs haven't necessarily offered this same kindness with lengthy wordiness or explanations or sincerity to the feminines. There's been ghosting, there's been running, there's been a fear that there has to be no contact so that things won't be misconstrued. There hasn't been the level of maturity or mastery of language to communicate with kindness. So divine feminines, you're also being tasked with giving those who love you, who you're not interested in, this kindness and more sincerity, more authenticity than your runners have given you. This is another way that divine feminines, you're making the world go round. So what can we see as a clarifier here? Be loyal to what you love. It is admirable to completely advocate for your impeccable truth, to not pretend, to honor that, to speak from where you're at in simple terms, but to not be convoluted, to be genuine and to own it in this unconditional way. Aren't dogs, and I'm being drawn to this wolf, the domesticated and the wild. Isn't this the way of it? This wilderness, the uncharted territory that howls at the full moon and calls the feminine forward, wild women that run with wolves. And this domesticated kindness, this very loyal energy, it really brings up that contrast of the wilderness versus the safe, expected, the civilized, and this call of the heart onward. So keep that in mind, divine feminines, when we're dealing with this theme of running and runner. Wow, what a what a cool message. Let's get into what we can with the divine masculines here. So divine masculines that have run. What can we see about that? So we have judgment and karma. So for the divine masculine polarity, there's been a lesson needed about external expectations, about too many people being involved, about contrast, about expectations, people pleasing, and seeing that people that talk don't know, and people who know don't talk. Actions, indeed. That word indeed kept coming to my mind today, thinking of the divine masculine. It is about actions speaking louder than words. I'm hearing judging books by their cover and fruits, trees by their fruits. Instead of what people say or profess, isn't it interesting, divine masculines, that when people say, trust me, or when someone speaks out an opinion like, I don't care about what people think of me, if we're having to profess those things, we're at a tentative stage. And so with the mother clearing, I'm hearing with the power the feminine holds over the masculine subconsciously, we've cleared a lot of that in 2022. That atmosphere is brand new, and divine masculines, you're starting to see for yourself. You're starting to see through the rubble, the fog, and feel into your own heart space about what your own truth is, not so much about the status quo or the traditional ways. Yes, there's wisdom in much of it, but there's also a lot of room for improvement, and that is what you have been needing to, that distance that you've put in these connections, divine masculines, has given you a buffer, a phase of becoming to continue measuring the status quo and what your heart is informing you. It's like a love sonar. That depth of connection with the counterpart that transcends all of these worldly contrasts. The judgment. I just heard the jury's out. But it's been this process of reconciliation, reconciling what the heart and head have to say about the scenarios. So this running for you, Divine Masculines, has been a grace, a saving grace, because it hasn't necessarily been a deal breaker. It's been a space holder so that you could contemplate just exactly what the heck you've been feeling versus what you've been told all your life. What else can we see as a clarifier? A rebirth is assured, and take a leap of faith. Yesterday's reading was such a leap of faith, but we're getting the rebirth, the death and rebirth energy here for the feminines, and a rebirth assured here for the masculines. These both did come out in the reverse, which means the jury is still out whether or not these connections warrant going all in. I just heard. But that's so interesting, because the irony is we just saw in the beginning that the feminines have runners, or are runners, from certain counterparts, potential counterparts that they're not prioritizing. And yet the Divine Masculines in these twin connections are also contemplating not running from the actual Divine Feminine. So there's this like chain reaction that I'm feeling through the collective of humanity that also plays into the twin dynamics. Because for everybody that reaches a level of mastery, there are so many others who are drawn to that light. I know that I've said it before, that, you know, if Jesus or Buddha, I would have a hard time myself not crushing on people like that with that much love quotient. So as we all become more and more love, there are so many beautiful people drawn to that. And it is a testament of those who are drawn's beauty just as much as it is to the object of affection. Let's see what the masculines can know about. So we did the feminines, about the masculine runner, and then about those who they have run from. And now we did the masculine about the feminine who they've run from. Let's do the ones for the masculines who have people that have run from them. What can we know about the runner twin and the karmic that have run from them? The 3D, it's to teach energy. It's to teach more than meets the eye, compatibility, and to remind, this is like the Godhead, the twins, and the higher knowing, the higher path. So when those who are not the true counterpart have run from you, Divine Masculines, it's always been to put you back into this hot seat of what really matters about the spiritual, the energetic, the more than meets the eye. We could call it divine timing, the grand plan, destiny, fate, whatever it is. It's always been what hasn't been for you. And there's that, what goes around comes around. It's a chain reaction. When we have incompatibility, the one that gets away, there is this sneaky, beautiful thing that happens. Our own heart expands and we love unconditionally, because we get to a point, a breaking point even, where we can't catch and own and grab. We're never guaranteed that thing, but we're all doing this together. We're all understanding more what we want, what we need, what is appropriate, and what it feels like to love unconditionally. If enough of us start doing that, we're going to have a lot more people who can actually match in that energy. And that's what's going on, popping off like popcorn for humans on the planet right now. And do you feel? Okay, clarifier for this. Love is all around. All around. Love one another. That's not the tune. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Love one another right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get into what are we gonna do? Let's get into just a straight up love reading. Let's see what we can see about the twin collective. For every one of you lovers out there, I love love too. And that's what this is all about, right? It's bringing more love to the planet. What can we see for the beautiful twins that join me here? What is it that we are meant to be looking at on the conscious mind, on the heart space, setting as manifestations? What actions can we be taking? What is the biggest challenge to focus on at this time? What is the spirit guidance solution for that challenge? And where is the energy going in the near future? And what the heck? What else can we get another layer deeper? Yeah. Okay, conscious mind. What shall we be focusing on these days? Okay. Page of Swords, being curious about how to not have deal breakers, to not make it so cut and dry, legalistic, yes and no, definite, how to leave the door open for it all, how to just be more open, how to be just more loving, to show up in every moment and to allow, to be openly curious. Why is this coming back around? What is it here for this time? How can I just hold my own, be whole on my own, not take offense, not take it personally if something doesn't go my way? How can I just be real and true? And not only just real and true or, surviving it, but thriving in the aliveness. How can it energize me? How can this exhilarate me? If this is what my heart tells me I want, or that enlivens me, how can I look at it in that way that supports that storyline instead of this runner, chaser? How can it be more balanced, more tempered? How can we be more curious about that? How can we cultivate that way of interacting as a norm? Yes. And we get enrichment. Enrichment, yes, it is diverse. It's enriching to allow space to keep growing, to push past the absolutes, the ultimatums, the deal breakers, and love. That does not mean put up with abuse. That does not mean put up with mean. That means put healthy boundaries in those cases. But if it's simply a matter of autonomy, sovereignty, everyone just getting along, drop the legalism, drop the yeses or the rights and wrongs. Drop it all, drop the pretense, drop the regulations, drop all of that and just follow your hearts. Stay open. Love anyways. Love 1,000 times. Love every time your person connects. Be that friend. It's enriching, especially if you can hold space for it. You get into trouble when you're attached to needing it to be a certain way, to wanting it to be forced into something that the other person doesn't want. But if that person looks at you and connects, embrace that. Don't be holed up in waiting energy for it. Meet other people, have your fun, Follow your heart across the board, 360 degrees. Enrich your life, but don't slam the door and get all upset. Look at it differently. Have room in your heart for it all. What on the heart space shall we be looking at? Two of Wands and Queen of Cups. Oh, the twin flames and this complete unconditional love. Let it sink in. This is expanding you. This whole journey is creating a bigger heart for you. You are stepping out of your comfort zone. You are growing your Grinch heart 10 times bigger. Things that used to be painful, you can look back now and see that was just your cracking open heart. And it keeps doing this infinitely. And it's changing the world. What else can we see? Graciousness, exactly. This is what brings in the grace, the martial artist level ease and flow. And the orchestration of the dance, the grand yoga. This is the grand yoga. This is the age of compassion. We're all doing this. Can you imagine if everybody in the entire world took one step in the right direction of grace, unconditional love, stepping out of their comfort zone and just loved others just that little bit much more? If everybody did that simultaneously, instantly, can you imagine the change? Essentially, we're doing that through this twin flame journey, and the influence that we have through becoming love specialists, unconditionally loving special ops. As we do that, it permeates the fabric of the human collective, and we bring more grace, more compassion in action into this world. What is the manifestation, the wish that we are meant to be looking at? Oh, coming out of separation, anxiety, and stepping into abundance. We have the Empress, which is the abundance, the fertility, the possibility, the potentials, the pollinator. This is dead end energy. We're meant to be coming away from that kind of thinking and into the unbounded, limitless compassion that just allows the things that don't feel good to point us in the direction of the things that do. That's what we're meant to be looking at. Innovation. We're meant to be innovating our own thought patterns regarding this stuff. So, you know, these loves in the twin flame journey, when we're in that arena of loving like this, we are the ones. Imagination is the greatest nation. We are the innovators. We're the ones that can look at love in a different way and say, it's up to me what feels good. It's up to me what I can handle. It's up to me what my capacity to love is. I'm not going to buy into what others should tell me I should do or not. It's up to my heart to know what love is and how I should do that. And the more times we love beyond the limitations, the more we innovate those loopholes, the crack in the mortar that gets us around the pain, the suffering, the attachment, the more we come into this Empress abundant flow. Keep forging forward, I just heard, finding new ways to not take it personally, to not go into suffering, to love anyways. That does not mean love tightly. It means love yourself no matter what. It does not mean you are unlovable if your reality does not follow your current wish. If that happens, innovate ways to not make yourself and other wrong, and to go in the direction that continues to feel alive. Seek that out. Whenever there's an impasse, find a way to allow the energy to keep flowing. That's what we call a blockage. When there's a dead end, a brick wall kind of a thing, and we hit it, our hearts hurt because we can't keep moving and growing. It's a natural desire for us to energetically grow as spiritual beings. If we are growing along and having a great time and something stops that, something abruptly says no, it hurts. That is an energetic assessment of energy stopping dead in its tracks. So just see it as such and ask yourself, can it flow this way? Can it flow this way? Can it just turn around and go over here? But keep it moving. Keep it flowing. Innovate it. Redirect it. Channel it. What can we see for the actions? Unconditional love and the world. Oh, the world in the reverse. I heard the world is within us, just as the cosmos. What you are within is what you see around you. Even in the face of adversity or trauma or an emergency, if you hold this unconditional love, you are of earthly good. You are able to see solutions that you would not otherwise see, even in the face of adversity. And so it is a matter of perception. Continue to seek the growth, the aliveness, the love, the life-affirming way of looking at things. That is such an essential statement here with all of these messages. The life-affirming way of looking at things. How can you create and preserve the aliveness in things? Let that be a conversation mandate to speak aliveness into things, even things that you don't prefer. Speak on the energetics, speak on the aliveness, speak on your aliveness, your preferences based on what makes you alive. That is the ownership, divine feminines in particular here, when speaking about what makes your heart sing, and divine masculines. For that action, intimacy, exactly. This is the key to going into the inner core of intimacy and deep, deep, intimate connection, even with those that are not meant to be your romantic primary connection or a primary romantic connection. That was a little bit convoluted, with poly versus just sincere, wholehearted love connection. But you can have deep, deep intimacy with everyone. It doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to be, we've kind of put intimacy into this bucket where it means sexual intimacy, that if you open up emotionally, that means you're letting somebody in a more romantic, sensual way. It doesn't have to be that way. We need to be that genuine with people who we're not having sex with, who we never intend to have sex with. Dropping the ego, seeing the core, connecting in that sacred way with all. And this is how we erase the sexual tension, how we stop demonizing connection. We don't have to hold back the unconditional love in connections with anyone we meet. That's mastery, another way of looking at mastery. Isn't that interesting how much we hold back being transparent or vulnerable with those who we're not sexually interested in because it might give them the wrong idea? Poof. Come on. Come on. Let's soften that a little bit, everybody, and get it straight. It doesn't have to be sexual. Beautiful. What is the biggest challenge at this time? Devil energies and passion. So lust, sexual connection. Okay, so on the flip side, we don't have to be sexual with everyone we're intimate with, but what if there is a lot of passion and a lot of connections where we do want to be sexual? So that seems to be the challenge here, is not so much this mastery that we're learning to talk to those who we're not interested in sexually in more intimate ways, but what about the fact that there are lots of potential sexual connections? This is a challenge, and leadership. So we're not only tasked, twins, with understanding dynamics in a non-sexual, more platonic way, but we're also incredibly tasked with sorting out multiple sexual pull. What is the solution to that? Channeling, Knight of Coins. So knowing what produces a foundation and what doesn't. Everything that comes to us. This well card is like channeling the river of life. It is the flow through things, and this is laying the foundation. So this is an internalized, moment by moment, step by step knowing of that aliveness. When we advocate for our own ownership of our own aliveness and we communicate from that place, we can navigate even these multiple fire and water, this hellfire, the passionate fire, and all this cooling, practical, grounded water. Got the wands and the fire here and the cooling. It is like an alchemy of water and fire. So keeping a level head, really going into intimate connections autonomously, with that aliveness, and knowing that it's all about laying the foundation. Human beings have been so repressed. We've forgotten how to be normal, how to be grounded, how to really be sincere on both sides of the coin, with platonic and with potential sexual connections. We're weird. We're kind of awkward. And this is the answer. It's to keep laying your own autonomous foundation and to be channeling the flow. If you are not feeling flow, if you're feeling blockage, if you're feeling that you need to take pause for whatever reason, we've seen a lot of runner-chaser dynamics here for both counterparts, with each other and with periphery connections. The twin flame dynamic really does bring in a specialized, multiple people, you could say a hierarchy, but group dynamics. We get friends and co-workers and paradigms and third-party situations and polydynamics. You've got it all on this journey. We are the specialists in energetics and relationship energetics. And so always remember to keep asking higher. This is one of the highest frequency cards, and bringing that channeling in. And then we have the devil here. And so it's really these two dualities and walking that temperance, that middle way. What's the clarifier? Restraint. So it's using restraint when things are really not beneficial. This is, again, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. As we come into spiritual mastery and maturity, we know when to use restraint or not. This did come out in the reverse, and so it can be counterintuitive. You may think from a 3D lens that you're meant to use restraint in certain situations, in certain love affairs, in certain dynamics, The twin flame journey is notorious for partnering people energetically who have just a fire, dynamic sexual connection that for whatever reason think it's inappropriate to come together. And in many cases, that is exactly what is meant to happen. It's meant to bust down all the systems that keep true connection apart, and to bust down all the systems that keep inappropriate connections together. The irony, it runs deep in this journey, and it is this special ops, surgical precision that we need to get into all of these dynamics. Let me say that again because it's so important to hear it. This twin journey really gets into the dynamics about why certain connections just shouldn't be kept apart, and the flip on why certain connections should not be together. It helps bring the energetic revelation of what is what. Okay, where is the energy going in the near future? Oh yes, Two of Pentacles and Three of Cups. Changes towards harmony, joy, celebration. And I'm getting pings and messages. So there's going to be reconnection, reconciliation, communication, friendship, joy. This is a huge, oh yes, we're coming into Lionsgate, which is going to lead to all of the beautiful things. The 10-10, the 11-11. This is really, really beautiful stuff. So I'm just being brought back into the springtime readings where the February 12th conjunction of Mars and Venus was an unconditional friendship gateway. And then moving into the eclipses, we had all of the guilt and shame templates, the binding templates falling off, specifically of the divine masculines, and the feminine, the karmic feminine holdover, the mother clearing, that Freudian mother influence, all of those things coming away, and this individuation based on unconditional love and true friendship. And we're seeing it land here. We're starting to see it coming into the physical, where counterparts are holding their own, being able to show up for each other so that things could unfold naturally if they're meant to, or if certain dynamics are seen to have fulfilled different purposes. We could call it karmic, we could call it soulmate, and then making room for actual twins, or karmic twin flame scenarios to make room and give way for actual twin flame connections to come in. That's what I'm seeing here, though. There's a sorting of the energy where it's now what makes you joyful, what actually feels good, who you thought was your twin, someone else, both, many, you. It's just all good. There's no attachment. It's just being there with what is showing up for us and celebrating it, because we don't have a guilty conscience. We don't have stigmas. We don't have these convoluted, unconscious, unknowing guesswork things anymore. We're becoming too savvy about energy, and it's lightening the load. We're doing it. We're working this energetic puzzle, this inquiry. We now care to know in real time, and we want to keep growing. We want to keep bringing in the aliveness, and we're not going to reject anything that pulls us into a curiosity, a heart-centered, curious exploration. We're going to inquire into it now without guilt, without shame. We're going to do it practically. We're going to do it with joy. We're handling dynamics and connections in a much safer, much more evolved way, y'all. I love this reading. Okay, I may do another one. And many blessings. from the East Coast. I'm such a West Coast girl. This is really cool to be over here. All right, many blessings. Bye for now.